Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Zachley, back bringing you some more NBA news and updates. Day 5 of the 2019 NBA playoffs are officially over, so with that being said, you guys already know that we're gonna have a heck of a lot to talk about today, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into this. Let's go. For our first story of the day, Ben Simmons has had it rough so far in this year's playoffs. With the spotlight shining a lot brighter on he and the Philadelphia 76ers now, he has started to take some heat from the fans and even players now for still not being able to shoot the ball. Of course, he was booed in the Sixers' first game against the Nets, and now NBA players like Jared Dudley are coming after Ben Simmons. As Jared Dudley, who averaged just under 5 points per game in the 20 minutes per game that he averaged this season for the Nets, just said that Ben Simmons, when he isn't on the fast break, is no better than an average NBA player. Ben Simmons is a great player in transition, and once you get him to half court, he's just average. Dang, and this is coming from Jared Dudley. And respect to Jared Dudley for being able to stick around in the NBA for as long as he has, but if he's calling you just an average NBA player when you're not on the fast break, that's rough considering that Jared Dudley throughout the majority of his career has been no better than an average player coming off the bench. His best days were like 7 to 8 years ago with the Phoenix Suns when he averaged 12 points per game. So it is really rough to have a player like Jared Dudley calling you nothing more than an average NBA player. Anyways, Ben Simmons didn't waste much time at all responding to Mr. Dudley, as this is what Simmons had to say. It's coming from Jared Dudley. Come on. Now, Ben Simmons in the open court is one of the most unstoppable players in the league. This is true. And it's also true that because of his lack of a jumper, that he isn't as good in half court sets as he is in the open court. But Dudley claiming that he is just an average NBA player when he is forced to play at a slower pace is an exaggeration for my eyes, to say the least. Or maybe Dudley just has a different view on what it means to be an average NBA player. And then again, if Dudley considers Simmons to be average, even though he's about to be the back-to-back Rookie of the Year and he made an all-star team in just his second year in the league, if that's the player that Jared Dudley considers to be average, then I wonder where Jared Dudley ranks himself on the scale of averageness compared to Ben Simmons. Next up in the news, after a stellar first season in the league where he was drawing praise from literally everyone and even caught the eye of Kobe Bryant enough to the point where he secured private practice with Kobe over the summer, Jayson Tatum this season hasn't shown much progression at all from where he was in his rookie year, as he averaged 14 points per game last season on 47% shooting from the field and 43% shooting from 3, compared to this year where he's averaging just under 16 points per game on 45% shooting from the field and 37% shooting from 3. So he's only averaging around 2 more points per game this year while shooting worse than he was last year, and at the same time taking more attempts than he was last year. So just from a statistical point of view, it's safe to say that Jayson Tatum hasn't improved much, if at all, from where he was during his rookie season, or at least not as much as people thought that he would improve. And because of that, some people have been disappointed by Jayson Tatum and have started to question whether or not we were overhyping him during his rookie season. His teammate Jaylen Brown, though, is already trying to put an end to that talk, as when he was asked for his viewpoints on Jayson Tatum in the year that he's been having and whether or not he will live up to the expectations that everyone has placed upon him, this is what Jaylen Brown had to say. "We haven't seen his best. It's yet to come. We will see it in the future. JT is going to be everything that everyone imagined him to be." Jayson Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Ben Simmons, any one of those 3 players who had a terrific first season in the league last year have all been doing just about the same thing this year as they were doing during their rookie season. None of them took another massive leap from year 1 to year 2. But I don't see a problem with that considering how great they all were in year 1. Sure, you have a guy like De'Aaron Fox who was good as a rookie in year 1, taking a massive leap this year to now being on the same level as players like Ben Simmons, Jayson Tatum, and Donovan Mitchell, but he just caught up to them. He wasn't as good as they were last year, so of course he had more room to grow from year 1 to year 2. And also, this lack of progression from year 1 to year 2 is no reason to think that they won't get better as their career continues. This doesn't mean that they've already hit their ceiling. I mean, if you look at a player like Damian Lillard, he drew a similar kind of buzz his first year in the league when he shocked almost everyone by by averaging 19 points per game and winning Rookie of the Year. However, in his second and third season of the league, he didn't improve stat-wise that much, as his scoring only rose from 19 points per game to 21 points per game from year 1 to year 3, and his three-point percentage even took a pretty big dip in year 3 when he went from shooting 39% to just 34%. However, the very next season, he showed massive improvements when he upped his scoring to all the way to 25 points per game. And I guess the moral of the story here is every player is going to develop at a different pace and at different times and in different ways. You can't expect players to just get better year after year after year. No, it's a gradual process, and if they keep working on it, in the long run, you will start to see those results. But for players who are already so spectacular in their first years in the league, it's unfair for us to expect them to become so much better from just year 1 to year 2. And this is nothing to be concerned about. If anything, it's a great sign that Jayson Tatum is able to maintain the same level of play that he had in his rookie season, since if you want me to be honest, some players out there who have terrific rookie seasons completely fizzle out and they're never as good as they were again. For our next story of the day, and speaking of Jayson Tatum, he was pretty good last night. Even more proof that literally no one should be concerned as to whether or not he is really as good as we thought he was. He scored 26 points on 11 of 20 shooting in the Celtics' 99-91 Game 2 win over the Pacers. And this was a much more entertaining game than Game 1, as Game 1 was super slow, to be honest, but that's just going to be the nature of this series. Both of these teams being better defensive teams than they are offensive teams at the moment, which is still weird for Boston considering how many offensive weapons we thought they were going to have this season. But anyways, as long as you have a player like Kyrie Irving in your team, then you know at the very least that you'll have one player out there who'll be able to go out and get you a bucket no matter what. The Celtics relied on him heavily last night, as he scored 37 points to go along with 7 assists and 6 rebounds. And like I said after Game 1, the Pacers are just unfortunate, as if they had Oladipo, well, they wouldn't have been playing against the Celtics in the first round in the first place, since they would never have finished with the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. Now, they would have been right up there with the Milwaukee Bucks and the Toronto Raptors, battling for one of the top 3 seeds in the East. Next up in the news, the Milwaukee Bucks once again blew out the Detroit Pistons, 120-99, so not necessarily as bad as Game 1 where they nearly lost by 40, but still it was kind of hard to watch, especially since there was some hope at halftime when the Pistons actually had a 1-point lead over the Bucks. Luke Kennard was playing really well again in the first half, until for some reason the Pistons just stopped passing the ball in the second half. Man was 4 of 5 from 3 before halftime, and then only got the ball to attempt one single solitary 3 in the entire second half. And it was just a why not chuck this up type of 3 when the game was already decided late in the fourth quarter. And for the Pistons not to be running play after play for Kennard when he was having such a strong first half, in my eyes, is just ridiculous. With Blake Griffin out, he has proven that he is their best offensive option, and yet they still don't give him the ball. Anyways, Giannis and the Bucks were once again spectacular. There's not much else to say. 26 points for Giannis, 24 for Middleton, and Bledsoe had 27 as well. But if you ask me, the real MVP for the Bucks this game was Pat Connaughton off the bench. 8 for 10 shooting, 18 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 blocks. He was everywhere doing everything, and the Pistons couldn't do a thing about it. And for our final story of the day, if there are any fans out there that might be able to sympathize with what us Piston fans are going through right now, it's Utah Jazz fans, as the Jazz are a really good team, and they would have been able to put up a fight or even beat any other team in the Western Conference and pretty much every team in the Eastern Conference as well in the best of 7 series. Heck, I think they probably could have put up a decent fight against the Golden State Warriors in a 7-game series too, but against this Houston Rockets team, it's just not going to happen. This is such an unfair matchup because the Utah Jazz have such an awful matchup against the Houston Rockets. Like, it's god awful. They don't really have a chance, and I feel terrible for them because they're a much better team than the Houston Rockets are making them out to be, as we had yet another blowout in this one too. The Jazz were never even to make this game kind of close, as the Rockets built a 20-point lead in the first quarter and maintained it throughout, with the final score reading 118-98. James Harden becoming just the 6th player in NBA history to post multiple 30-point triple-doubles in the playoffs, as he led the Rockets with 32 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. 17 of those points came in the first quarter alone, so he really came out out and set the tone for the rest of the game for Houston, which is great because that's exactly what you will want your star player to do in the playoffs. Anyways, that is actually going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and once again, I really do hope you guys are enjoying the coverage of the 2019 NBA playoffs. And if you are, you already know that I need to go ahead and destroy that like button, as well as make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with post notifications turned on so you can stay up to date with everything that goes on in the NBA. That being said, you guys already know that you are the real MVP, so until tomorrow, keep getting the buckets, Team SDC, and I'm out of here. Peace!